Hey guys, it's Daniel with Olsen Cleanup. I just kind of wanted to show you the process and what I do with these windows. One of my big things on windows is getting these frames clean. It's all got all this sheetrock mud all the way around it from when they sprayed the texture on the walls. And I just kind of wanted to show y'all how I kind of go through my process and get these clean to make my job a little bit easier. So what I do first, I go in here, basically I just got soap and water. That's all I use on this right here. I mean, don't really need too much more than that. I mean, you can use your preferred chemical if you want, but I prefer soap and water. It's not too expensive because I use a lot of it when I do windows. So I don't want to be spending too much money on these high-priced chemicals. While I get this edge soaked down where the sheetrock mud is with my soap and water, I'll go in and spray my windows. I'll get my stickers all nice and wet where it's all sticky and all the glue's holding it, and I'll spray my entire windows. That way it also gives time for this sheetrock mud right here to soften up from my water and soap. Then while I'm spraying all this, and by the time I get ready to scrape my window frames, they're pretty much soft and ready to go. So what I use is basically a yardstick from Lowe's. This thing's $1. This thing saves me, 5-10 minutes, kind of depending on the severity of the dirtiness of these frames and all that. Basically, it's got a nice good edge on it. And if it gets a little too wet, it is wood, so it will soften up. You'll lose your edge every once in a while. So you can just easily cut that off, and have another one, reuse this unless you break it, of course. But that's kind of what I use right now because I think it's a good tool. It's pretty thin, and it can get next to these walls and this frame with ease. So I'll just kind of show you how I do this. I just put it up there and get my edge close as I possibly can to that wall without having to damage it. And kind of go up and down, and it just pretty much knocks it right off. And it's knocking it off too because it's soft, because I soaked it down. Some spots are a little thicker, so it takes a little longer. You might have to soak it a little longer. But this thing, I just go straight up, and then I'll just flip it over and go down the bottom frame of the window and kind of scrape it down and get it done. And with this window being short as it is, I can reach up tall without having to even get on a ladder to get this top part of this frame. And then also, these will help you with even the taller windows to be able to reach up higher when you've got, 8-foot windows or something, and you're still on the ground, but you will have to get up on a ladder with the taller windows, of course. So basically, I've already got my window frames clean, so I'm good with that right now. So what I'll do next is basically just wipe these frames down where I just was, so that way I don't come back after I've already washed my windows and my rag accidentally hits the side of the window right here, and now it dirties it up. Now I have to re-wash it or re-wipe it down. So I'm trying to save time by not having to do my job twice. So that's why I'm taking the steps I do right now to clean this window. So basically I got that frame clean, and my next step is getting my scraper. I always make sure I use a brand new razor when I enter a house or enter a property to do windows like this, especially on the construction cleans. You don't want to scratch these windows. If you can prevent it, do it. Brand new blade helps. I say use a lot more liquid, a lot more water than you really think. That way it kind of helps protect the window a little bit better when you are scraping. Just be careful though. So I kind of start on my edges, and when I'm doing my edges, I don't keep this blade square with it because every once in a while that blade will catch the frame right here and tear it up. So I try to angle it just a little like this, just to get it a little away from the window frame. That way it's not catching it and stopping me. And I always square my stuff out. So I basically go around and scrape my windows on the edges. Some of these stickers are a little harder than others, so you can see that one took a little bit more, but it's still okay. So I'll just square it all out, pop off my base stickers, wipe my blades. I continuously wipe my blade if I feel like I'm getting stuff behind my blade, because one of the reasons you scratch a window with the razor blade, well, let's just rephrase it. Two of the reasons you scratch the window with the razor blade is you got a razor blade that's rusty, nicked, or damaged in some way, and it scratches the window, or you get a piece of mortar or some kind of construction debris behind that blade, and when you pull back, that's when you usually scratch it. I've seen people just go to town like this, and next thing you know, you see all these scratches because something small was behind that blade and it scratched your window. So just be careful when you're doing these because you can scratch them. So just kind of go through and keep knocking off all your stuff. Like I said, I like to square my stuff out. That way I know I'm getting a good, clean slide with my blade, and then I can kind of just go over the center of my window. And actually, I think it works faster for me personally. It might work different for others, but that's just kind of how it benefits me right now. So I've got all that pretty much scraped off, and it's ready to wash. So I'll just grab my squeegee and my brush. Every once in a while, if you can see like how dirty it is still. So every once in a while, I'll just go and just kind of wipe it off with my wet rag that I have to get some of that excess debris off, just to make my squeegee and brush work a little bit better. You really don't have to, but I just kind of do that just to kind of make sure I got a clean window at the end. So I'll just use my brush and kind of scrub it down, and hopefully that'll pick up all my extra stuff that I didn't get. And I'll come through with my squeegee, and I'll kind of knock my windows down like this, get all that excess water off and debris that's in there. Takes practice with squeegees to get it right. I mean, obviously I didn't do it right here because I missed it. It happens sometimes. So I'm just gonna go over this one real quick with the water, with my wet rag. Just kind of get it wet down, kind of get my squeegee going back through there. Still wasn't the greatest, but hey, it takes practice with this squeegee, a lot of practice. So that's kind of that. Once I get that done, I'll go to pop my window up. And I open these windows from the inside like this, so it makes it nice when you're up on a 2-story house like this. Then you come out here and I'll just go ahead and peel my plastic. Basically, I'll start one corner and I'll start working it all the way on one side, so that way you get a good grip on all this plastic. Because some of this plastic is really hard to get off, and it starts breaking on you, you can't get it. But sometimes the plastic's cut and it'll rip anyways, and it'll start coming off piece by piece, and that's no fun. But then also at the same time, you've got brickers out here. They're dropping mortar all over these windows. And when mortar drops on this plastic, it usually sticks, it dries, and then it rips your plastic again. So just be cautious when you're pulling these windows, or pulling this plastic off these windows, because it can easily rip kind of like that just did, and you can fall, so just be careful. Especially if you're outside on a ladder doing it. I try to prefer to work inside and get my windows from the inside, but sometimes I can't. But like, luckily I can do it with this one. And then basically, once you got that plastic pulled off, I'll go ahead and clean my window and everything from this side, because I can do that. Just be careful with these windows when you come across these things, because these things are set in these tracks here, and they're just little pins that stick in this. And if this happens to slide up a little higher or lower than the other side, these things will pop out. This track will shoot all the way up, and you'll have a very difficult time trying to get this window right back in this track. I spent 30 minutes one day by myself trying to get one of these in, because nobody else was around, and I was working at night by myself. So just kind of FYI on that, be careful, always watch what you're doing. Think about what you're doing too. You don't want to tear anything up if you don't have to. So I just kind of wanted to show y'all how I do my windows. And you can see I can use a little touch up here. Basically, I have a dry rag in my back pocket, and I kind of let my windows dry. So you'll be able to see more smudges once it's dry. So now I can see all these smudges here. See, I can just kind of wipe it off with a dry rag, and they should be good afterwards. But I always double check my windows at the end of every job, and just kind of go through and look and see if I need to maybe touch up a smudge or two, because 9 times out of 10, you have to. I don't know how many people really love windows. I'm not a big fan, but I'm always trying to help out wherever I can and make my job faster. So I hope this little tip with getting the window frames down and all that helped y'all out. Thanks again for watching. It's Daniel with Olsen Cleanup.